Hello, hello, family, and welcome back for day two of Nubia Fest. I hope you are all having a wonderful day so far, wherever in the world that you are. Please share in the comments, let us know where you are coming from. And we are excited for a jam-packed day. So, inshallah, I will be streaming for you guys now the current lecture that is happening. And let me know if you are able to see it and if you cannot see it, okay? So here we go.
We know that there was a well, so it means that the church was not visited just on the way, but apparently it was the longer activity was there. And for example, building the church itself, you need water for it. And the well looks also from earlier period than the building of the church. And then the church, as you see, located among the boulders of this rocky area built of mud brick that somehow fits to the whole landscape. On this photo, you can see the nearest settlement in fact. So it's, as I said, it's not very far, but it's not church that you could treat as a part of the settled area. It is built in a very strange way or peculiar way. As you see, only three sides are standing independently. The fourth side, the fourth walls, external wall from the east, is in fact the boulder that was there. That's how it looks from the west towards east. And it was not by coincidence that it was located that way, because apparently builders wanted to build the church around the rock drawing that you can see on the photo here, the way that the image would be located in the sanctuary of the church. Here, in combination with the photo by Bogdan Zirawski, who gave us photos from 1993, we can suppose that, in fact, this image was a main figure of apse composition that typically occur in Nubian churches, and these are here you can see lower parts of apostles' figures that were on the side of the sanctuary. But the image is earlier, and by its style, our previous researchers recognize it as a Meroitic rock drawing or rock representation, because if you compare it with the previous drawings, it's much more elaborate and rather resembles full-size or oversized figures of wall decorations of Meroitic temples. As you can see, this figure holds rams here, and that's why our league with Good Shepherd popular representation of Christ in early Christian art. If we think about the style of this representation, the only comparison comes from the other sides of the Meroitic kingdom, Jebel Kali, where also a rock representation of a ruler exchanging slaves with to sorgo, so fertility. In this case, we can kind of God was represented. So it looks that these representations were not very popular. At least we don't know many of them. And then its meaning even increased. If we think about such unusual adaptation of an image, we should go back to the Nubian past, and we started our work on analyzing relation between image and the church. Already earlier, we worked on this project, as I said, for several years, in fact, and we we presented already this thing during the Congress in Paris, showing that we can take under consideration several aspects of material and immaterial culture in Nubia that we can divide into so-called great and little tradition. So great tradition is everything that is official, monumental, and well, let's say quickly run by a state, while little tradition is more connected with daily life, popular religion beliefs, and also, as you can see, language, but all kinds of immaterial aspects like music, dance, legend, and magic that in this case can be of a special importance, maybe. So just to give you an image how vivid this Meroitic tradition is still in medieval period. I would like to show you some examples like these tradition of carved elements, architectural decoration that was based on Meroitic workshops that apparently were still functioning during the transition, let's say, between Mero and newly occurring state. I will come back to this later on, as you will see. In iconography, also, we can recognize certain elements of previous representations that were, let's say, refreshed or used in a new context. So gods and heroes were transformed into saints that were killing all kinds of personifications of evil. And then the most striking, maybe, and well, also immaterial aspect of the divine kingship that can be also linked with our spot, maybe, is similar. These are similarities with Meroitic and Christian religions, where the concept or the parallels between divine figures and royal figures apparently could be adapted very easy or easier than in other regions, because it was simply very close to Meroitic concepts and these parallels between gods and royal authorities. So just to show you an example that we know that the most important female figures in Meroitic times, so Isis, the goddess, was called mother of a god, while in Christianity Mary was called mother of Christ in official inscriptions. I mean, while royal mothers were called or entitled officially as mothers of kings. And also in iconography, these two female figures were presented in a similar way. When it comes to this divine kingship, we can also observe certain similarities in funerary concepts, and this example of the unique church in Banganarti shows us representations of Nubian rulers under protection of Archangel Raphael, and if we would like to look closer or find closest parallels, we can go back to royal chapels at Meroe, where winged figures, in this case Isis, are protecting these rulers. So not going into details, as you can see, we have a lot of material to analyze these different kinds of transformations, of if there was a continuation or not, or if there was adaptation of functioning concepts, formal or visual representations into new language, let's say, in this case, mainly language of new faith, including the image of at Masida, of course. But the church is not the only aim of our project. We want to put it into the context, and I should refer more to the people who are working on this project. As I said, I'm only the speaker today. So this rocky area will be surveyed by Mariusz Drzewiecki and Paweł Polkowski mainly, who will be working on rock art drawings. And we hope, or we hope that this context will give us more data to understand not only the adaptation of the image into a sacral representation in the sanctuary, but also the role of the image itself during Meroitic period in this very area, the importance of the area, and in this case, I can say that our project has no limits when it comes to time. We decided that we don't stop in time when it comes to we are going backwards. We will record everything from the beginning, and we will stop to in modern times, including our own activity in the area and how it's influenced local life. So sorry, you know that there is no time, so just going very briefly to show you how vivid area it is. We should start with Neolithic times, and as I said, we can refer, and you can find much more in this publication of survey by Ali Osman and David Edwards, of course. But we are constantly at the vicinity of a Kerma basin, where that was very dynamic area in this early periods. In fact, if you see all these sites, they were, sorry, I have better image here, starting from Mesolithic more to the desert, then Neolithic, these violet triangles, up to pre-Kerma and Kerma. We can see that the activity of people were going closer and closer to the river, with probably erasing aridity of the whole region, or in fact whole Africa. This is period where everything is in fact more or less unified. We can see that these groups of people are moving around, and the region itself is not any frontier or border of any of these words meaning. So probably we will be dealing with material that is part of the more global community. Then what we can observe, and still Kerma Basin, in this region we can observe the formation of first states. It's parallel to what is going on not only in farther north in Lower Nubia, but of course also in Egypt. This is the same period where we can observe proto-pharaonic organizations and beginning of the state of Egypt. And here we are dealing with pre-Kerma settlement and cemetery. That's what I just said. We are here at the third cataract. This is what is nowadays treated as pre-Kerma state, and that is more or less temporary to terminal A group, the state formation that was occurring more to the north. So these are proto-urban or even urban complexes, the Kerma itself, that occurred at that moment. And of course, everything developed rapidly into first big state formation in Nubia that is called Kerma culture, with big groups of people to the north and to the east, as we can see on this map. So again, in the closest vicinity, we have a capital of this state. We are quite close. Our region is quite close to the capital, a big town with a lot of official buildings. So the region that we will be dealing with is in the core of this big state. Although we don't know yet how far, what kind of points we have. And then a big change is coming, as we can see on this on these maps here. After the domination of Kerma during Second Intermediate period in Egypt, the reverse situation occurs when Egypt grows in power during the New Kingdom and comes to Nubia. The reason is always, the main reason is always one, means gold. It started already in the Old Kingdom, this interest, but here we can see that Egypt is more how to say it, structurized, and doesn't want to occur occasionally, but involves the territory of Nubia within its own state. But if we see at the map of our region, and here we have Kerma and Tombos, this is even nearer and occurs at that time, and we compare it with gold or regions, we are in the very lands where this gold occur, and that cause problems also nowadays, as I've mentioned, referring to the well in the vicinity of the church. So you can see that the chain of fortresses and fortified towns, Egyptian towns in Nubia, covers all these all regions or mouths of the wadis that were going into this gold mine regions. At that moment, also the nearby site of Dukigel shows us that the place, although Kerma itself was destroyed by Egyptian raids, is of a big importance also for Egyptians, and these amazing discoveries by Charles Bonnet recent years showed us unbelievable activity and invest in this region by the Egyptians, as we see several pharaohs left the remains of their activity here. And also, again, this chain of fortified cities and cemeteries, of course, because it's combined, also involves tombos that I just mentioned. This is a site that is becomes very important in the region, and it's in very close vicinity. How close it is? Masida? I don't know. 20 kilometers, something like this. So this is the closest center, probably from our place. It starts being important, and it will be active as a center constantly. As you can see here, these are New Kingdom tombs, inspired, in fact, by the tombs from Deir Medina, for example. This is the very similar form, and continued during Napatan times, as you can see. So this constant occupation here will remain. Again, problems in Egypt gave Nubia, as we all know, opportunity to first gain independence, but also take a revenge. And this is this golden period in Nubian history when Nubia was ruling the entire Egypt. Um, well, several separate series of lectures we could discuss these things, but I would like to pay attention to you that again, Dukigel, the site that we just mentioned, is important during this period, and it's part of the quite elaborate coronation concept that um, um, contain also a kind of coronation journey, and one of the sanctuaries that newly crowned king has to visit is also Tukigel, so one of the Amun temples that were built by Egyptian pharaohs there. So again, we are not somewhere in the province, but it's quite important site. And then we are, of course, moving from Napata to Meroe. That leaves us also from this Napatan period a unique find. One of the royal cachettes that were found after the ride, or probably as a result of the ride of Sametic II from Egypt. And the collection of royal sculptures is for us in this case important because probably these sculptures were made in the quarries at Tombos, like this one left in situ that is still laying there. So again, the Tombos is linked with the sanctuary at the Fidel or at the Pinus, as we want to call it. During the Meroitic period, the core of the kingdom is somewhere else, as you can see here, more to the north. This is the center of the Meroitic kingdom, but we know we have some data that north is also very active, and the administration of the whole kingdom is divided into independent centers. So we are somewhere in between the capital at Meroe and the capital of the northern province. Sorry, the arrows are moved. So here we have Barat and here. So the capital of the northern province, namely Faras. It's significant because it's a seat of the royal son or viceroy, the title that was inherited after this activity or presence of Egypt during the New Kingdom occupation with its palace at Paras, and is probably without or with significance for later periods. We know that queries are functioning because of this drawing published by Ali Osman and David Edwards. The queries at temples are functioning and producing royal statues. So the tradition is or activity is kept. But at the middle of the 4th century, we know that the Kushite Empire is coming to its end. The whole world of this region is changing. In fact, Egypt is not the same anymore, and new groups also occur on the stage. At that moment, new state formations based on this probably based on local Nile Valley tradition, but newly coming people is created or is forming. And if you see on this map, at the probably at the beginning of the 6th century AD, we have 3 new states occurring in the Middle Nile Valley. If you compare it, Masida is somewhere probably at the border of Nobadia and Makuria. Just to give you an image how dynamic the period is, in fact, and what is going on in the whole Nile Valley This scheme. So we are somewhere here. What is important for us, as you could see, we were dealing during Meroitic period with some administration division, but then this administration division or also people who are coming gives us much bigger or stronger division between the states. Although it doesn't last very long, at least when it comes to state formation, because these two northern kingdoms will unite under authority of Makulia. Well, probably somewhere at the end of the seventh century. So here we have the map of the three kingdoms, and as I said, somewhere here is Masida, just at the border. So Faras becomes the capital of the northern kingdom, probably. I have personally believe that after or continuing tradition from Meroitic times, this was the administration center at that time with the new big, well, buildings that reflect new faith. And just to make a close up of this part, still, as I showed you before, cultivating this Meroitic tradition that was apparently functioning through functioning workshops. Um, if we can we let's say attach Masida to one of the regions? Um, Probably yes, and the answer I found in the publication of Ali Osman and David Edwards means pottery. This is well, I should thank my pottery teacher Kasha Danes, because I know that these special goblets are very characteristic for Lower Nubia and Southern Egypt, even, or the frontier region. So the occurrence of these potteries from here, but I hope we will be able to find out if we have also these forms in the region. Shows us the close link with lower Nubia. But we know, and of course, people who know better than us, I hope we will know better at the end of the project, that we are at the frontier with the cultural language, first of all, because all dialects of modern Nubian shows us that we are dealing with different tradition in this region. So, as I said, our project don't stop with the church and the Christian period. One of the members I should again mention is Machi, who will be dealing with a contemporary community in the nearby villages and checking what is the meaning of this for these people of the church, of the spots, of the whole vicinity with rock drawings. If they feel attached more to the north or more to the south, well, I think questions will come with the conversations and visits during our project. It's also important for one more aspect of the project that I would like to mention here. Means protection of the site. It's quite problematic because it's not within the settlement. There are no people who can protect it. So the awareness of the community can be the only probably protection of the site. You could see and we could see that the gold miners could easily come and use bulldozers to look for gold there, and nobody could notice them because it's too far from houses. So this is the only way to protect the site, that people respect it themselves. The deterioration is quick, as you can see here on the photos from 1993. Also, nature is not on our side, so it's high time to protect the building itself. And this is also part of our activity or plans for activity to activate, to find local Mansoners that will help us in reactivation of Nubian tradition in building, constructing buildings, especially vaults and domes that can be easily still constructed on the functioning or on the remains of the original building. And it seems that Madrid is the best, or the, let's say, the material that will not be stolen simply, because everything else can be, especially at the time of crisis that people need everything literally, can be simply taken. So this protection will be also, as I said, an opportunity to reactivate local traditions. These famous Nubian votes were described at the beginning of the 20th century, so we should simply go back to this documentation and find local masters again. So it's also combined with, as I said, protection of the building against illegal digging, but also, as you see, the interior is fully painted, and for this we need restoration and sorry for spelling mistake, conservation of wall paintings and several inscriptions that we expect in the interior of this building. Yeah, I was quick, I see, with this description. But as I said, it's only the beginning. We have more questions than answers. We have a lot of expectations, of course, but our main aim was to, well, from the starting point that fascinated us, this unique re-adaptation or rereading of the image in the new context. Sorry, I've lost the beginning of my own sentence. So anyway, from the starting point, we would like to go much farther because it's only inspiration to find a way to understand the whole region, and with the cooperation of the other missions in the region, like Tomba's mission, for example, I hope we'll find much more in the future to tell you about. Well, this is just selection of literature. I think I can save some time for possible questions if there are. Although I don't know if I can connect with Facebook. If there are,
I will try to mediate. So there is a chat channel here in Zoom, and I see that So has a question, and I can also check whether there are any questions on Facebook.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead, So. You can type your question, or
we cannot hear you. There's anyone who wants to.
Yeah, now Vincent, I'm.
so I had to unmute.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm So Miyagawa. I'm a cryptologist and nubiologist from Japan. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. I'm very impressed. I have several questions, but just three. One, yeah, I think you showed an image of a solar god. The rays, sun rays, solar rays are very unique. Is it unique? Is it common in this in this period. Also, it is. I think it is not attested in Egypt, but
no, it's not common. It's very unique too. Even in Meroitic art. Sorry, I went too far. Oh, no, the image is earlier. In Meroitic art, we don't have representations of such solar deities. Although, what is important to remember that these all kinds of gods can occur in the period of enormous syncretism. We are dealing with Greco-Roman Egypt at that moment, and of course, appearance of this kind of gods is not very, let's say, surprising. So, very possibly the kind of inspiration or kinds of syncretic mixtures could occur. Although Meroitic period is also a moment where when all indigenous deities occur stronger, they are more visible to us after the Egyptianization of Nubian society from the period of New Kingdom. So these were main gods for centuries, and during Pharaoh we have an opportunity to meet these local gods, and of course the question is if they were the cult was before but was not official, so we don't have data for it, or it was also a kind of result of this dynamism in recreating, reinterpreting religion at that period.
That's very interesting. And I'm also very curious about these letters on the top of the king, I think. Is it Meroitic? Or do you see the inscription? Is it inscription?
You mean here, the cartouche?
Yeah, the cartouche.
Here it's a name of this king, Sharkarer, but well, when it comes to names, we are quite lucky. I mean, it's easy to decipher, especially if it's in cartouche. We know that it's just a name. So okay. I'm not sure. Well, it's like hieroglyph, so it's not so safe. But this is special representation. So then the form of inscription.
Okay. I cannot see it I cannot zoom in, but is it Meroitic hieroglyph or just Egyptian hieroglyph?
I'm not specialist of language, I must say. I'm not able to zoom it in, but I can provide you later on with
okay.
Maybe with the image. You can find it if you type Jebel Haley on internet. You will find a lot of these images.
Okay, so, thank you.
It's published.
Okay, great. Okay. And my last question, I'm also very interested in the picture with a big angel with small people. What is this angel? Is it Michael or I'm not
Raphael?
Sure. Raphael, okay.
Yeah, it's Raphael. It's well, we can observe special role of angel.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So again, the Bamganarpi is published. So and in all these seven. Here in all these, here we can see five, but there are several Eastern chapels. The same composition was repeated, showing King under protection of Archangel Raphael. The whole building is devoted to Raphael, so we have no doubt.
It is very special to this church, or the Raphael has much more power in this period in Nubia than other.
I think we were specialized in certain things. So Michael is the most popular, I would say, and we just thanks to Alexandros who organized a workshop about both of Archangel Michael in Egypt, Nubia, and Ethiopia. We published a book about his role in Nubian culture. And he was, shortly speaking, Michael was a kind of protector of individuals and society. That's what we can, I think, observe from both iconography and text. While Raphael looks or seems to be a protector of the royal house, of the royal family. That's what we can observe, at least, well, now from the material, especially thanks to Banganart, but also new church last year's uncovered in Old Dongola, the capital. It's also the vault of Raphael.
Okay, that's very interesting. Right. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rohna and Karel. Thank you.
Thanks. So for your questions, I don't see any questions on Facebook, and I also don't see any other questions here on Zoom. So thank you very much, Dr. Rohna. Timothy had a bit of an issue with the Zoom connection, but he says thank you to all of you. And I would like to thank you as well for your wonderful presentation. Yeah, I'll see you probably in 10 minutes for the next session.
See you then. We will see. Well, I would like to say, or we would like to say goodbye. We will try to follow the Nubia Fest, and we are delighted by the idea, but we will be traveling next day. So, well, see you around. We will try to connect.
One more question. I actually got the last minute question that came through. Considering the mummification of the priests in Old Dongola, I know that you didn't immediately refer to that in your presentation, but
mummification of the priests. Well, I think the question can refer to the crypt of Bishop Georgios in the monastery in Old Dongola. We don't have, as I know, because the crypt was excavated, and there was also anthropological research has been done. So there are no traces of mummification. This is not period for mummification. So natural mummification because of the climate could occur, but definitely not. No, there is no tradition anymore.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thanks again for your presentation. We will follow your project with great interest. And
cross your fingers that we can go there.
Yeah, we all hope that you can go there.
Thanks for supported me, but no, without him.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. See you around.
All right, everybody. How was that session for you guys? Please comment. Let us know any questions that you have that you would like to have been addressed that were not. Let us know your thoughts on that. I think that's an amazing session that kind of ties both the history of Nubia as a Christian kingdom and also Nubia as we know it today. The next session will begin shortly in about 10 minutes, but please let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know any questions that you have. Feel free to follow the Twitter at NubiaFest2020, all one word, and keep going. We're all here to learn together, to unlearn and to relearn. So the next session, again, is going to be Vincent's first of 5 Introduction to Old Nubia languages. He's going to be teaching history and the writing system. Tune in, and we'll see you in 10 minutes. Afia logo.